About 1 out of every 2 people in the world have insecure attachment style, and what's most concerning is they don't even know about it. But don't worry, there's simple ways to understand if you have anxious insecure attachment. I will share them with you today. You'll understand why this happens as a result of not getting enough care in early childhood, how this affects your life today, and most importantly, how to move beyond these insecure strategies and to begin living an authentic life that you can truly call your own. Do you fear abandonment? Are you afraid that your partner will leave you even over a small misunderstanding? Or that your friends don't really like you and are waiting to get rid of you? Fear of abandonment is a chronic experience of rejection, and it's one sign you might have anxiously insecure attachment. This is called preoccupied attachment. Do you constantly need reassurance, even if it seems excessive yet it never feels like enough? Preoccupied attachment can feel like a bottomless hole that cannot be filled with any amount of reassurance, commitments, or promises. Are you constantly asking your partner and your friends for more and more reassurance? Clinginess and nonstop proximity seeking is another feature of preoccupied attachment. Do you only feel comfortable when you're with someone else? And do you have a hard time being alone? Are separations especially difficult for you? Even if it's something mundane like your partner running out to the store or going on a business trip, do you feel like the amount of rejection you feel seem disproportionate to what's actually happening? When you're left to your own devices, do you find yourself having a hard time making decisions and being independent? Are you feeling paralyzed, overly active and restless in a purposeless way? So for example, having a hard time getting out of bed and scrolling on your phone for hours and hours, or binge watching shows and putting off your day, even though you know it will have major consequences if you don't attend to them. Preoccupied people also have an underdeveloped sense of self and often feel badly about who they are, often feeling incompetent and incapable, or that they're not even worthy of being loved. And this shows up as extreme sensitivity to any sign of rejection in relationship with a deep-seated feeling of insecurity. In order to avoid any conflict, people with preoccupied attachment tend to go along with other people's wishes, engaging in a so-called people-pleasing mode. And what this tends to do is, over time, build up a lot of negative feelings and resentments in the relationship that eventually spill over. And the way this looks is the preoccupied person simultaneously feels helpless, like they have to go along and that the other person is making them do it, at the same time feeling angry and resentful and lashing out at the other person for making them do it. Lastly, preoccupied people tend to feel too much and think too much, engaging in catastrophizing and overthinking, often going over and over again about what went wrong in previous relationships, or planning what they're going to do differently in the future. And the irony here is that despite doing all of that, preoccupied people are often the very last person to find out how their very own actions led to the outcomes they're so much trying to avoid, the rejection and the abandonment. And the reason this happens is because as children growing up, typically their parents, their caregivers, weren't sensitively attuned enough and responsive enough. So their own internal states are a mystery to them. And they have poor awareness, poor reflective ability, often in this state of passivity and confusion. And this is a form of learned helplessness because nothing seemed to work growing up. Nothing seemed to help them get emotionally regulated. All of this comes together in what's called an outside-in orientation. So at any one point, say for a preoccupied person, when they're interacting with, say, a colleague, a friend, their boss, a relative, they're actually prioritizing the other person's feelings and thoughts over their own. So those of the other are primary. They lose track of their own experience. And in this way, they have an outside-in orientation. Contrast that to a secure person who's deeply rooted in their own experience and can empathetically and metacognitively connect with the other person, yet they never lose track of themselves. And what this adds up to is a false sense of self, of living a false life. And the way this plays out is that inauthenticity is primary, and it's actually the experience of authentic expression that's anxiety provoking. If this resonates for you, what do you do next? Even if you felt like this most of your life, it doesn't mean there's no way to move forward. There's now well-established and evidence-supported attachment repair methods developed by Dan Brown and David Elliott and their colleagues called the Ideal Parent Figure Protocol and the Three Pillars approach. In this innovative method, you actively remap your insecure conditioning and move into secure functioning and develop the skills of security. Here's what sets it apart. Unlike traditional talk-based therapeutic methods that focus largely on coping and managing negative emotions, the Three Pillars approach actively builds lasting positive models. So the negative patterns no longer come up when you earn secure attachment. You're simply and unconsciously acting out of the new secure attachment map. This creates lasting change. We don't just modify your existing attachment style, we create a brand new secure map for the vast unconscious mind to use in the present moment. The results are relatively fast. Experience significant improvement in 50 to 150 sessions compared to years of traditional therapeutic modalities. Ideal Parent Figure method is at the core of the Three Pillars approach. It uses safe and nurturing imagery and visualization to provide you with the experience of secure attachment that you never had. Working with a trained and certified Ideal Parent Figure facilitator is essential to the method. In this way, you can avoid common pitfalls and create robust and secure imagery. You're in the driver's seat, working collaboratively to generate secure imagery that is ideally suited to you. Ideal Parent Figure Protocol addresses specific needs. IPF allows you to heal from your unique developmental deficits and get the secure care you crave for but never received. In my work, about 85% of the people I see are anxiously preoccupied. And the way this looks is their distress level is quite high, so they're always looking for different methods, something new to try. So they're attending courses, reading books, biohacking, going to see different professionals, anything they can get their hands on. But the issue they run into is there's never enough push behind any one pursuit. They don't stick with any one modality or working with any one professional long enough. So none of these things ever seem to work out, and it actually feeds back into this chronic sense of failure and incompetence, that nothing seems to work. I can't get better. In order to make significant change, you actually need to find somebody who deeply understands what insecure attachment is, your specific difficulties, and that can provide you with the interventions that will move you along into secure territory. Are you ready to break free from insecure attachment? You can learn more by visiting mindfulattachmentcoaching.com to find out about upcoming classes, the services we offer, and my work.